Hey everybody, welcome to episode 41 of the podcast. This one's a little bit different. As you guys will hear, the interview was with my dad and my buddy Chase Rao. We both, or all three of us, just got back from a trip down to Arizona. We kind of talk about what the trip entailed. It was a big golf trip, and I know with everything going on, people are probably going to have a few questions about traveling during it, and definitely that's something we had our eye on beforehand, put a lot of thought in before, and didn't take lightly. And then when everything blew up with all these politicians traveling, which is something we talk about on there, but this is just something I wanted to address right in the intro because it's something that, like I said, we put a lot of thought into it. When the idea was first brought up, it was, I think my parents were going, but then everyone was freaking out so much, it scared my mom out of it. She didn't want to deal with the blowback of being seen traveling, which you can't blame her for, and stuff like that. I mean, that was my biggest hang up from going. It wasn't any worry for myself or for me infecting others, because we were very safe about it. We got tested a lot of times, which again, we'll cover more, but it wasn't really what I was afraid of. What I was afraid of was that blowback of just these days, any time you see an easy target where, society says I can attack this person, let's all pile on, and that's what happens. It's just something I don't want to deal with. It's not something I'm genuinely afraid of. I think getting into something like a podcast, that's going to happen eventually. You know, it's something I'm surprised hasn't happened already. And I say a lot of stuff, but I stand behind all my opinions. And that was something that, I really thought this out. Is this worth it to me? If I don't go, it's probably going to be my dad going on his own, and probably he'll be safer if I'm there and can say what is smart and not smart to do, and what we need to order and what risks we can take and not take. And I'm glad I went on that front. And then, also Chase really was excited about that trip. And I don't think if I wouldn't have gone, he wouldn't have gone. And I think he deserves it probably more than anybody. It's not my story to tell, but I think he deserves that trip and what that was more than any of us. And I think for those reasons and for my own, that really kind of made me want to take that trip and say, be damned to all the people that are going to have something to say about it, right? And then that turned into, okay, well, we just won't post anything. And that didn't sit right with me, let's just not talk about it, because, if I'm going to do something, I want to stand behind it. I want to pretend I didn't and then get caught and have people come and, banging at your door with pitchforks. That's not how I like to do things. If I decide I'm going to do something, I'm going to stand by that decision. And I do. I thought we did it very safe. We talk about it on here, but we got tested as soon as we could when we arrived. We got tested before we left. We got tested when we landed in Calgary. All of them have come back negative. We isolated, didn't leave the house. We downloaded all the tracking apps. We have done daily check-ins for symptoms and everything on multiple different apps. We weren't even allowed to go outside for walks. They said we had to get all our food delivered, and that's what we did. And then we got our results. We're booked in for more testing on top of that. And it's just one of those things where I think there's a lot of people riling it up and trying to make this an issue more than it is. And it is a big deal. When we talk about it in the podcast a little bit too, if you're a politician that's just been shutting people's livelihoods down and all this stuff and saying not to travel, and then you get caught traveling, like, come on, like that is, obviously there's something there that doesn't sit right with people. You don't need to be a political whiz to feel a little bit of a twinge in your stomach when you see things like that happen. Just like these politicians that are shutting down restaurants and then get caught at their private dinners in the back area with no mask on. It's that same shit, right? It's not about the action that you're taking, because I think a lot of people have sympathy for the what everybody's going through with this pandemic, but what people don't have sympathy for is hypocrites, and neither do I. And that's why I'm saying this. I decided to go on this trip. I weighed the risk myself, and I stand by it to this day. And some people might have something to say about that, but I don't think there's a lot wrong with that. I don't think there could have been a very much safer way to do it. And it's just one of those things where it didn't sit right with me to not talk about it. So I'm glad we did this podcast. It was something I was worried to bring up to Chase and Ingo about this podcast, but I didn't have anything to release for this Monday. And that was the only, if I was going to not miss a week, which is very important to me. And I think they understood that. It was, this was going to be the podcast we were going to record, right? And I'm thankful for them to be willing to step into the fire with me on this. And I think both of them cared a lot less than I did about it. I think they're both just had fun and stuff like this trip. I think you'll talk about it, but going to TPC Scottsdale and seeing somebody like Chase who loves the game of golf this much and watch his reaction, and it was awesome for me too, don't get me wrong, but it made it all worth it to me. Just in that one singular moment. But then asking for this podcast, it was also very cute to to see how excited Ingo was to get on here. He knows episode 100 is his episode, but this was kind of a chance for him to get on the mic, which I don't think I realized how much he was itching for the opportunity until I brought this idea up, and then he was just bugging me and Chase because Chase doesn't really like getting on the pod. He doesn't like talking about himself. I'm slowly convincing him and forcing him back on and on because he's a very special guy and so fucking funny, and I want you guys to experience his type of humor, whichever way I can make it happen, and slowly we'll be making it happen more often. But he was very nervous and didn't want to do it, and Ingo was all gung-ho, mixing him drinks, trying to get him drunk to get him on, and it was just very, very nice for me to see how excited Ingo was. Apologies for the sound. It might get a little quieter and a little louder at times because they both had to share a mic, and they both didn't have headphones on, so they couldn't tell how close they were, and these mics, you really got to be right sucking on them to get a good sound. So there'll be times where they're passing it between each other, or they forget to pop in. It might be a bit annoying on that. Nothing I can really do about it. I don't have the editing skills to edit the specific parts to make them louder and quieter as I go. I'm sure that's something I could learn, but at this point I don't have it, and if it's going to be out tomorrow, it's just not something that's in the cards for it. But I think the content of the podcast will save it from maybe the audio being up to snuff, because it was really funny. Lots of inside jokes, lots of laughs. We had just a great time on this. I think I've never laughed as hard as we did when we went and got that first test up the nose. Oh my God, was it funny, guys? You'll hear the story on that. Some of the courses we got to play, some of the lingo we got Ingo in between me and Chase, the stuff he was saying. We watched a season of Australian Survivor, which I've talked about and how much better it is. We get right in depth on that. It was tons of fun. What else? I wanted to address a couple other things. Oh, in this podcast, I think I talked about, so the day we recorded was the day that those rioters stormed the Capitol in America, and in giving the podcast to my sister and to my girlfriend to listen to before, that they both said like, hey, are you sure you want to say that? And I don't think because they know me and they know my stance on it a little bit, and they just said, I think you maybe need to clarify or cut it out or not release this podcast. But what I was saying is just with those riots, it's bad and it needs to be condemned. Like, people doing that type of shit, it needs to be condemned from the top immediately. Violence is never the right answer. And what upsets me is to watch for over 100 days, every night in Portland, they'd be throwing Molotov cocktails, trying to burn down their federal buildings there. And nothing was really made of it. Nobody really heard about it. They just let it happen. Nobody was condemned. Nothing went wrong with it. And then you see that day after day after day, they know this is going to happen. They let them walk all over the city. The Portland mayor does nothing. He just tries to incite it even more, very similar to what we're seeing, and then nobody does anything, and that creates a big pushback effect. And then people do this, right? And obviously it's incited by Donald Trump, and now he's being banned, and that's a whole other thing I'll probably get into after this. But it's not. I think what they were having issues with, I must say on the podcast, that you have to have compassion for them. And it's more so compassion for the other side in general, not those specific people that were causing damage and being violent in that way. That's not to have who you need to have compassion for, but just don't demonize the entire side, right? You have to have some compassion to try and see a little bit, at least, how they would get to that point. Don't just write it off as they're crazy. You need to have a little bit of understanding of what things are happening to build it up, and to build up that kind of emotional, frayed emotions like that will push somebody to act in those ways, which happens on both sides, but it just needs to be condemned. And then the other part is, every time you make it about race, just the whole thing, it's just, you need to condemn the violence. It doesn't matter, because they're white people and all that. That's not time for that. You just need to condemn everything as violence. It doesn't matter what color they are. As soon as you keep bringing everything back to race, it re-ups that issue, right? And there are racial issues that we need to address that are there, but when you start to not invent, but to see it in everything, now you take away the importance and the real sting of those real issues, right? When something like the George Floyd case happens, that is when they need that, right? But now you apply it to everything you see in every day, and now it's not, it loses its punch. And that's what I'm seeing right now, is just all these people are making it worse by, making all these connections and drawing all this stuff on top of it, when all you need to do is just say, like, these guys are fucking idiots. They are not patriotic Americans. They're misled, right? And that's all you need to say. It doesn't need to be taken into all these other realms of, oh, if they were black, this would happen. That's not what this is about. It's just about idiots doing something that they know they shouldn't be, and they need to have repercussions, right? Just like there needed to be repercussions in Portland for all those months. And that's what happens when you just let this craziness happen. And now there's this double standard. And I'm sure there's going to be some real complications coming down for those people who are seeing them on no-fly lists, getting arrested, which is great. I love that stuff. But I'm saying that should have been happening with all these people. It's one and the same. You have to treat them the same. Doesn't matter the color of their skin. Doesn't matter the tribe they're on. If they're on Trump's side or Biden's side, doesn't matter. That shit is crazy. You can't have that. You need to shut it down. There's a time and a place for this. And if you cross that line, there needs to be consequences, and you don't need to tie anything more to it. And that's more that I was trying to say, right? And I've just been frustrated with that for a long time. Maybe it came out wrong. I haven't re-listened to this to say, and that's why I give them this podcast to listen to before it goes out, to make sure that they call me on the shit. And I want to be called in this shit. I want to make sure I defend my positions, and maybe I didn't have enough pushback because I think I was already talking all week, ranting about this to Chase and Ingo, so they didn't really have much to push back on. And they had more of the whole story of what I was saying, right, where you guys get 5 minutes of this on here, which is pretty good. So hopefully that adds a little bit of extra flavor to it, so you guys understand kind of where I'm coming from on that one and don't take it the wrong way, and then I think something that I didn't get to talk, I'm sure I'll be talking about it on the podcast, is now they've banned Trump from all social medias and banned Parler, which is a new social media. I've never really been on it or seen what it is, but apparently it's kind of pretty right-wing favored. But it's a lot of scary things happening, right? And I think there's everybody that listens to me are probably thinking, oh, well, Nick will never be happy about Trump being silenced like that. It's, free speech is something that I lean on pretty heavily, but you can only lean on free speech for a while. I think Trump did that on purpose, and it's something that I've kind of thought for a while is he's just trying to test those limits until they can, because there is a lot of censorship issues, and they are being very unfair with their censorship. So he's going to push it until they censor him. And then now he can take up that flag and be a martyr for all these people, when he should have been shut down months ago, or there should have been something where, they had some sort of 3-strike rule with him, or there needed to be something done sooner. Now they're doing it now because they've seen the results, let it boil over, and now they're doing it, which it's a tough position, because I think it's a slippery slope. And now you see all the people that they can ban, and the power that gives them just to arbitrarily ban what they don't like, especially people that speak out against big tech. Now it gives them free rein to censor that. And it's kind of worrisome in a lot of ways, but I think it's kind of something that needed to happen. And I think Trump knows that. And I think he was pushing those lines and creating as much hate and stirring up the pot as much as he could to try and incite something like that. And that is just not what we need. And it's a time where you got to love each other. You have to find compassion wherever you can. It's hard. It's hard work. It's not easy to find compassion for somebody that seems to be so antithetical to everything you hold dear, but you need to do it. And once you do, you'll start to see that they're not so different. People aren't that different. And that's kind of what I wasn't as worried about talking about traveling on the podcast. I think there's a lot of people that, okay, you traveled, you're evil, I can put you in this box and those, but that's not really the people I want on this podcast. I want free thinkers that are, willing to see both sides of a story and understand it, right? And that's the type of stuff that, those are the type of people I want. And I knew that if I talked about it and laid it out in a clear, concise, I want people to come back on me and say, am I wrong? If I'm wrong, I'll admit it and I'll apologize, right? Like, I have no apprehensions for that. I just think when you let it just happen on social media, and you don't bring something long form like this, you just throw it out. You can see what happened with these politicians that maybe some of them have some good reasons for. I don't think so. I mean, I doubt it, but who knows? Maybe they do. But if you're just jumping to, these meek, sad apologies that are just the scum of the earth to me. Like, if you stand by something, stand by it. If you traveled and fucking stand by it. Don't come groveling for that. Fuck, you shouldn't have a job. You should be fired, and you should never get a job again if that's the kind of spine you have. That's not the kind of people you want in that position, right? And then I think we talk about it a bit on this podcast. It's just our idea of what is going to be called upon for these people that step into these positions. I think that needs to be reevaluated. We need to have a new standard for what we're going to accept out of people that step into these positions where we might need them one day. And so this is just sorry for how heavy the intro is, but it's a lot more fun on the podcast. We just had a good time, talked about our trip, talked about the inside jokes we had, and it was a lot of fun to, like I said, see Ingo get on the podcast and be so excited for it, to see Chase freak out so much and almost have a fucking panic attack beforehand. And then once we hopped on, as soon as the topic got to golf, he was right in there and had a great time. I think he was a little bit lost on some of the politics talks, so that's just not up his alley whatsoever, and he doesn't want to even take a crack at it. But that was fine too, and that's what I told him. He didn't need to chime chime in if you didn't want to. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope if you hear something where it'd be easy to just condemn somebody, you got the green light, everybody else is doing it, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, and you can take that shot. Just make sure you stand behind everything you say, and if it's the only reason you're piling on is just because you can, really take a second thought about it, and just, is this going to add to this person? Maybe this person is in pain. Maybe they need something. Maybe I need to reach out. Maybe there's a better way I could do this. Maybe there's something I could reevaluate in my own life. That's what everybody needs to be doing right now. And that's the only thing that's going to get us through this, is that compassion, that love for everybody. Regardless if you couldn't agree, it's easy to love the people that are easy to love, but the people that are on the opposite side, that it'd be very easy. You have all the social coins in the world to spend on writing them off. You have all that currency there, but you don't, and you choose to take the hard path, and you choose to try and find some redemptive qualities in them. That is what's going to get us through this, whether that's somebody on the left looking at the right, somebody on the right looking at the left. You need it from both sides. It's got to be unity, and that's the only thing that's going to help get us through this, because I think this is just the start of the way they're trying to divide everybody. And you just got to stand strong against that, and anything that you hear, just run it through that filter of, does this really seem like it's good for everybody? Is this trying to divide us? Is this trying to make me angry? Is this trying to incite something? And if it does, disconnect. Maybe you find better people to listen to, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll save all my rest of my mumbo jumbo about following all social medias for the outro, and I'll leave that as a bit of a longer intro. Apologies for that, and I didn't leave a little timestamp to jump ahead, but I did that on purpose, because I think this intro is as much part of the actual content of the interview as any of them will be. So yeah, thank you guys for following along. Hope this new year brings a lot of positivity, and I can't wait to bring some of the guest ideas I have in the can onto the podcast. I think a lot of people in December were kind of saying, well, in the new year. So I got a whole list of people to start bugging to get them on the pod, and should make for some really interesting content for everybody. All right. Thanks, guys. All right, so today with me, I got my dad, Ingo, and my buddy, Chase. We've been down in Phoenix for the last, how many days?
9 days.
9 days? Make sure you're right on the mic when you're talking. 9 days. We got here, landed, and got a test a couple days in, tested negative, all clear. It's beautiful down in America. You can just go $150, go buy a test. And seems crazy you can't do that in Canada.
20 minutes we had the results.
20 minutes.
Crazy stuff right there.
I know. Amazing. And yeah, and then just a lot of golf. We get our groceries delivered. It's like night and day down here. It's like COVID isn't even really happening. People wear their masks and stuff, but everything's open. Everything's full on. The airport was pretty crazy. I think that's why we felt like we needed to get a test rate when we landed, just to make sure. But yeah, tested, and then been golfing up a storm and having a good time with the boys, with lots of laughs and having a good time. So thanks for hopping on the podcast. I was feeling pretty stressed, I think, earlier this week, because I knew I didn't have one in the can for next Monday, and it was getting me a little bit stressed out. So thank you guys for stepping up to the plate. I know Ingo's been chomping at the bit to get on the podcast. He was waiting for episode 100. So no, thanks, boys.
And it's coming in quick too. So yeah. I need a little practice myself.
Yeah, closing in on it. Yeah, so we started out the week just on our home course on the Duke. Showed it to Chase. I've been wanting to get him on the course. He's my golfing guru, getting my swing down. And I'd been playing this course probably more than I've ever played a course in my life. And we're always talking golf, and he never knows what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Duke here. And that's where. How long have you had this place in Maricopa?
We came down. I think it's got to be 10 or 11 years right now. We bought a little place, and then once we felt comfortable here, we got this. We wanted to be close to the airport, and we wanted to be close to the golf course, and we got it. So it's been 10 years. It's clicking along. Yeah. Beautiful here.
So how many rounds have you golfed on this Duke now?
Ooh, I don't know. I probably get 10 to 15 rounds a year on this baby, and there's a beautiful number 5 in Arizona right next to us here too.
Right, so that's Southern Dunes. So that was the first course other than Duke that we golfed? Was the Dunes, or was Ocotillo?
No, we started here, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So we did 2 rounds at the Duke. That was beautiful, always fun. You never have a bad round on the Duke here. And then we went over to Southern Dunes, which is a beautiful course. They were just lining up for some, what was it, a junior tournament or something that was coming up, I think?
Yeah, it was an amateur event. It seemed like there was a lot of college kids there, a couple Wyoming bags, Iowa bags.
Nice.
Some guys sleeping on the putting green. Grounding.
Yeah, that was weird.
So yeah, big amateur event closed for like 2 weeks after.
You could probably play in that, hey?
probably win it.
Probably win it, baby. I know you would. Oh man, yeah. Chase is definitely the best golfer of the three of us and four of us, and we had a fourth. He was just lighting it up all week long, and probably took my game down by 3 or 4 strokes. I finally figured out how to drive and not go 100% left to right, using the whole fairway, the giant banana that is my swing.
Banana management, we call it.
Yeah, bananagement is our colloquialism for it. Yeah, I know it's been awesome. So we golfed a couple rounds here, hit the Southern Dunes. I think we did 2 rounds there.
Yeah, we did 2 rounds at the Southern Dunes.
Then we did Ocotillo.
Ocotillo.
Yeah,
I say it wrong, but
that was a little bit disappointing. Hey, you said back in the day.
I've golfed it before when it was a Troon course, and I really noticed the difference that it's now that it's Phil Mickelson.
It's too bad because I love Phil Mickelson. We both have huge calves. We like to hit hellacious seeds, and it's a shame. You said it was great when it was a Troon managed course, and I found the Duke more enjoyable, more playable than Ocotillo, and that's a shame because I'm a big fan of Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, I know. So, but just to clarify, so you said Phil Mickelson, you said Phil Nicholson.
Mickelson.
Was it Mickelson or Nicholson?
Phil Nicholson is the actor.
Ah, right.
Sorry.
Hey,
Nicholson.
Yeah. Oh, and we got a special guest appearance by Nick on the Nick VonDubCast. We just get a double play there. He's got it playing out. Oh man, oh it's perfect.
That sounded double speed even.
Oh man. Well, Ingo, are you on double speed yet, or are you working your way up to it?
I'm definitely 1.8.
1.8.
I just can't make the number 2, but I too see the I don't know what the word is, the management of time of listening to everything faster now.
Yeah, well, I've rattled on about that a million times on the podcast, but yeah, what we were talking about on this trip especially is when you're just watching those little 5-minute YouTube videos on how to change something or how to change an oil in a truck or one of those things. It's nice when you can put it on 1.5 and just cut that 5-minute video down to 2 minutes when you're in a hurry and you're trying to get something done. It's definitely awesome. So yeah, golf there, and then I think we came back to the Duke for a couple rounds after that, after Ocotillo.
Yeah, you. I think you jammed over the fence on hole 6 on us. You had a headache, and then we actually did 20 holes that day. We got behind somebody, so we just zipped back in our carts and did 2 or 3 holes twice, and we had a great round that day.
I don't know. We played 20 holes, and Ingo still came in 76. I don't know how he did it.
Well, I do have the racer on my pencil that comes in quite handy.
You got
if you get a ball out of your pocket and on the tee before the next one lands, you're okay.
Doesn't count.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
To go.
Yeah, I'm learning all these kind of rules from Chase, the real rules, and all kind of rules from Ingo that might be a bit fraudulent, but hey, they play. And then we played probably other than, we'll get to it there. Probably my second favorite course of the trip was Whirlwind, and they got 2 different courses there, Cat's Tail and Devil's Claw. We played Devil's Claw, and it was amazing. Hey guys, it was
very very nice. It's that's a Troon course, right?
Troon,
yeah. And I found it a little hard on bullets. I didn't get too familiar with one ball. I had, I think, 3 holes in a row with one, and man, that place it was very narrow but very pristine.
Yeah, it was very nice. And that Troon, so that's a management course. They have all the nicest courses in Arizona, you were saying?
Yeah, so from what I understand, they're just a golf course management company, and they're pretty famous on Scottsdale. They have quite a few courses down here. True National up in Scottsdale is one of their big ones. Their Southern Dunes as well that we played earlier.
Oh, right.
And I believe they were the management company in charge of Ocotillo before Phil Mickelson.
Right. And so they kind of had it running like a top, and it used to be one of the favorite courses out here for the people we talked to. But yeah, it seems like it's gone downhill a little bit less managed. Probably Phil came in and wanted to save a couple bucks here and there, but the driving range. I really noticed the driving range was. You had to buy the balls before they had the just like the rest where it was in the price, and some of the tee boxes just didn't look the same. Yeah, they're a bit beat up, bit uneven. Yeah, but what are you going to do? Do you know if that Troon is that like just Arizona, or do they have courses all over?
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's just the Phoenix area, like Arizona anyway.
Fair enough. That'd be hard to manage that many courses all over the place if you're spread out. So that makes a lot of sense. Oh man, that was so that was my favorite. And then today, just a couple hours ago, we had the crown jewel of the trip. we went and golfed TPC Scottsdale, which was I don't know, probably the coolest thing I've ever done in terms of golf. It was absolutely incredible. There is not a piece of grass out of place there, and that stadium course is just beautiful start to finish. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was something. And we're just back to Troon here. They have courses all over.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
All over the world.
Oh, wow.
Bahamas, Europe, Middle East, Australia. That's
I did say don't quote me on that. Yeah. So
hey, fair enough.
Middle East, wow,
fair enough. But back to TPC, because I got to talk about that. That was like nothing else. And the Waste Management Open, which is usually I think this upcoming weekend or a couple weekends from now, but it's actually at the start of February. So we just kind of got the start of the ramp up there. They had the not the true stands on 16, but just the one level of them. Usually they're about 4 levels tall, and it was only about one level. Okay.
I think they're only going to let in 850 guests to watch it, is what I heard.
8,000.
I heard 8,000.
Or sorry, 8,000.
Yeah. And usually there's about 250,000 people a day through there. So it's definitely it's definitely a little bit less.
It was so neat to see that place empty, I guess, or in the build-up mode. From I've been there twice, and wow, it's just what they can do with scaffolding and how. What they can build and the Americans, how they can push people through is just it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a fine-tuned machine, hey. And maybe put the computer away. It's hard for me when you guys are both looking at that. It's hard. It's distracting for me. But
the Google guys.
Yeah, the Google guys. Well, I can Google stuff if we need it. But so 16 there, that was one of the coolest things I ever golfed. I have the stadiums all the way around like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and you said
you walk into that tunnel like they would, like the real players would. That was like, to me, that was the pinnacle of walking into that stadium. Wow.
Yeah, it was very cool. Hey, and you've been there a couple times to watch the Waste Management Open. Hey, and you got to experience that 16th hole and the party that place is. So maybe Chase, you're probably a better guy to ask about this, but people, golf, it's quiet and respectful, and especially on the PGA, there's not a lot of raucous crowds other than when Tiger's on a hole. I guess they kind of give a little bit of a exception when that's happening, but the Waste Management is a little bit different, hey?
Oh, big time. I mean, there's guys up there like giving the let's go sign, raising their arms, and I think if it's quiet on that hole, it's weird.
Yeah.
I think that's players, if they're on that hole and it's quiet, they did something wrong.
Right.
But they're there in the morning, there's no players there. Mm-hmm. And I think that for me, I played on Rexall Place Ice as a hockey player. I was pretty good at hockey.
Yeah.
But man, this experience playing that 16th hole, I think beats that hands down. It was just such a different atmosphere that you don't normally get on a golf course. Like that the grandstand's closed in, even though there's no fans. I think.
Yeah, a couple grounds crew setting up in there. We got a couple fans watching our shots. I think. Who all hit the green today? You hit the green for sure, Chase. Ingo, you...
Yeah, I put her pretty tight.
Yeah.
I think I was the closest on my second shot because a cactus got in the way on the first shot, but I was pretty nervous.
Yeah, I put it over. I know. I was not nervous at all today. I think it's just because I know I'm not a good golfer, so I didn't put much pressure on me, but... I had so much fun with that course. Just the views, every hole, it seems like you golf some of these other holes and it's kind of, normal hole, and then you get to a nice hole. But today it was just every single hole was just beautiful. And some of those freaking houses, holy Christ.
And like even the rough or the desert between the holes, it was so they keep each plant almost groomed. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh man, it was quite the experience, and then I think Chase had the shot of the day on 17 there. Pretty.
How far was that?
I believe the rangefinder said 311.7. I remember to the number, and I put it on, and that was I coming down on this trip. That was the one hole I thought of even more than 16 because it's a very entertaining, drivable par 4 that I always see the pros, and it's kind of a make or break for a lot of guys coming down the stretch. They either rip for that green or hold back, and guys in the lead maybe hold back a little bit. And I obviously didn't hold back today. My driver went to shite on the back, and I managed to hone her in there and hit the green. It felt pretty good.
So one of the cool things that I was excited about to talk to you about, because what's that game called that you play on PS4, that golf game?
Oh, the club 2K21.
Oh, so I don't know if there's anyone listening to this that knows a thing or two about golf has probably heard of this game, but I'd never heard of it. I went over to Chase's house and, he had this game on. I just, what's this? And, I was used to the old Tiger Woods kind of, it's more gimmicky. It's, not really true to what golf is, but this game is so close to what an actual golf game. It's just as frustrating as golf. You have to have everything calculated in, and the courses are exactly what you play in real life. So in the build-up, we knew we were going to come play TPC when we came down here. So I know Chase was playing it a couple times on the video game, and I was very curious to see how it lined up. And you said it was like amazingly accurate.
It's nuts how it looks identical on the video game. Even the slopes of the greens are even identical. Like number 3, that par 5 with the very severe hill right in the middle, kind of that 2-tiered.
That hill fucked me.
Identical. Oh yeah, that did.
Man,
I tossed you right off.
I thought I had a perfect shot there. It was going to roll down that little. I didn't even look at it from the front. I only saw it from the back, so I didn't realize how down. So I rolled right off the green with that thing, but just barely caught that hill, and it was right off. I don't know how much lighter I could have hit it though. I think you're going off that if you're pretty much, if you're not landing on the bottom deck, you're hooped, right?
Were those weren't the most slippery greens that we played on, though. I think Southern Dunes might have been.
I don't know. Yeah.
Harder than that.
Southern Dunes maybe rolled a little faster. These ones were very firm. When your ball hit, it took a hard bounce first, and I think that's the toughest thing for golfers to try and control. If the greens are fast, but they're soft, you can kind of control approach shots, chip shots. But when they're fast and firm as well, it's tough because you get that hard first bounce, and that's tough for a lot of guys to control.
Yeah, it doesn't lose a lot of the momentum. It keeps that, and then when you land and it finally settles out and starts rolling, it's got the glass on top of that, and it starts going. Yeah, that was a tough one for me. I don't think I had chipped. Maybe 2 or 3 chips didn't end up on the other side of the bunker there. I was pretty much just better off putting from the fringe there all day. But actually. The putting wasn't too bad for all the boys today. We kind of all straightened it out. We were going.
I don't want to brag, but
Speaking of putting,
my new
don't get Ingo started.
I don't know if I said it once or twice or 100 times. I love my new putter.
I think we might need to get a 2-ball sponsorship.
No free ads.
Yeah, no shit. Come on,
Odyssey.
Wow.
Oh man.
It's like an attachment.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I think Ingo's bringing that one back to Canada with him. He's got some clubs that he leaves and some clubs that he's got to take back with him. So I think that's going to be one of those clubs that's got to make the trip.
You were going to steal the lob wedge out of the bag here, weren't you?
Well, I was thinking about it, but I'm just such an elite chipper, such an elite ball striker. I think I can. You put any club in my hand and it's going to go. It's going to go where it needs to go.
It's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to go somewhere. Yeah. Oh fuck, that's fun.
Followed by a swear word.
Yeah, and a couple club throws. Hey,
reload.
We heard the word reload quite a few times on this trip. I don't think I had one club throw today or this trip even. I had a lot of club smashes, maybe a couple club bends.
Seen Chase throw one.
I lightly tossed it towards my bag, and
yeah.
There was a really angry guy on Southern Dunes. Three consecutive tee shots in a row, a gigantic gash out of the tee. I don't know if he was having a rough day or if he was mad at the course or if he just dropped his driver really hard. But there were some pretty nasty gashes.
Hey, well, sometimes that happens, and usually it's not Ingo. Usually it's me, the one that's throwing clubs and freaking out there. But that's a tough course. It'll get you. It'll get you. I thought that was Whirlwind that had a little bit of the blow up.
I did blow up at Whirlwind. I got mad on the 10th hole, but then it was I never do that either. That was very weird of me. But got my own cage.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'm sure we'll get back to some more golf, and there'll be a couple more golf stories. But I think something we got to talk about is that testing that first day. So we figured out. We realized it's $150 for a COVID test, and we wanted to be sure that we were being very safe, and we were getting our groceries delivered and pretty much just isolating at the house other than our golf games, and wearing our masks everywhere and being smart and not taking any risks, but still to be sure that we weren't doing anything unsafe. We wanted to get a test, so we book this drive-through test. We drive into town, and we're sitting in the lineup, and we're all pretty nervous. I think we can say that. I think we're all had a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. I know, but there's probably 2 cars ahead of us, so we're game planning. I think Chase wanted to go first because he you know, he didn't want to see us get it because then that freaks you out even more, but it kind of got taken out of our hands. So we roll up. They just had a system. You meet with one girl, everyone's got her mask. They say mask up in the truck before you get up there. So we put our mask on. She's got her mask and we just tell her names, and she grabs 3 swabs, puts them underneath the windshield wiper. So 2 on the right for Chase in front and me in the back, and then 1 on the left. And if you're 2 on the right, like obviously they're gonna go to the double first. So Chase, you're in luck, you're getting it first, but then walk around and no.
I dibsed it.
Yeah, he dibsed it, but the girl must not have heard his dibs from 40 yards back. But so we get up there, and I don't know if we started laughing before or
it was, and then as soon as she. Violated my nose with my left nostril with the pipe cleaner. Yeah. I started shaking and
pulling
laughing
away
and nervous. I don't know, and pulling back, and she kept. And then I was laughing like crazy, and then it was game on in the truck because all 3 of us were crying, laughing.
So then I'm laughing already at Ingo's reaction. He's laughing pretty hard, and then Chase gets it the next one, and then I'm dying. I'm like. My stomach hurt. I'm crying. I'm in the back, and I haven't even got it yet. And then Ingo got he had to take the first bullet, but then he was free to laugh and enjoy us. So he's taking pictures and he's dying. Not very often you hear Ingo get almost out of breath with laughter, but it's always fun. It's a good laugh. So then I'm dying, and then it comes to me, and I'm in the back, and these 2 we had to just, as soon as they finished swabbing, we had to go pull over because we were all laughing so hard. Oh my God. We tried to ask the lady if anybody laughed that hard when they get their testing, but she didn't, she wasn't too friendly.
And I've got a great photo with you way up there.
Yeah, well,
doing the twirl.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about what we're gonna do for the promo for this episode. I think we'll have to definitely have that nice video I got of Chase driving 17. Good picture of me with the swab up my nose, and maybe a good shot from the stadium hole there, 16.
Maybe my 60-foot putt. Oh, no one took a picture of that. Oh, well, too bad.
Oh yeah. Picture it didn't happen. You know that rule.
Come on.
You know that rule. Oh man.
I think I did sink the longest putt this weekend, though, guys. Right?
Probably.
Come on.
I don't know.
It was, and consistently.
Where at Alcatel?
No, it was early on.
No,
One
Nick
day,
had the longest putt on
was
Alcatel.
at Southern Dunes. That was just was draining the putts.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. That's that. As long as you get it on, gotta get it on
Just
the audio.
this back to like America, how great stuff like that is. Like 20 minutes after we left that test, we were getting our emails back that we were all negative. Like that's crazy, that turnaround time.
Yeah, it's awesome, and that's something that I was kind of talking with you guys about, that I'd listened to lots of podcasts. There's a guy that specializes in these rapid tests and is very upset that the CDC is not approving these rapid tests that could be widely distributed. They cost about $2 to make, and they could be just changing the game in how we attack COVID, because you have a job, and your work pays for these tests. You buy a couple thousand of them, you test everybody once a week, and then now you have that sense of security. Or these businesses that want to open up. I mean, Joe Rogan's doing it in Texas right now, where he has these rapid tests before a comedy show. Everybody gets tested, 20 minutes, you got your results, and everybody comes in and has a good time, and you have that peace of mind that everybody's negative, right? And obviously doesn't take away all the risks, and there's going to be some things that slip through the cracks, but when the other option is just to shut everything down and have people losing their livelihoods and stuff, it seems like such a no-brainer for them to invest in, and you don't see it in Canada. It's very unfortunate.
And what does he just increase the price of the tickets a little bit for those shows? Or
probably. I mean, he's not really in it to make money. What I would imagine, he's building his own comedy club down there right now, but it's not built yet. So he's probably just working with a comedy club there where he takes on the cost of the testing himself, just because he just wants to do comedy. If you talk to any comedian, it's not about the money. They just love the craft, and it's almost a high. It's a drug to get up on stage and to feel that. And they talk about killing, and it's just this. They said, like, nobody will ever understand unless you're another comedian what it feels like to kill on stage, right? And you can have that in other forums, right? There's some public speakers that can get a little bit of the high, but that comedy, that pure, because laughter is such a primal thing. It gets you from your gut. That's why when, dark comedy, when it's shit that you shouldn't laugh at, but it gets you anyway, right? Like, if you had time, if you were prepared, you would almost catch yourself and try not to laugh. I mean, if you're that type of person, but it breaks through that, and it's that special thing, right? And I think that's what people, all 3 of us here are probably in our heads, we all enjoy making people laugh quite a bit. I mean, we're all pretty big goofballs. Maybe Chase especially. He's he likes to go for the laughter quite a bit of times, and I don't think anybody makes me laugh like Chase does. It's funny to find someone that has such a similar sense of humor, because for my sense of humor, it seems like it's always, I say the jokes all the time. I always swing at them, and lots of times just almost joking to myself, and nobody else hears them and nobody else gets them. But when I hang around you, it's something that will always hear the joke and always get the joke, and you always get at least a little bit of a chuckle or a, oh, come on, one of those. It's fun. It's fun to see. And I was listening to a podcast actually the other day, and they were talking about, it was these two scientists that work in AI, and how they work really closely for the last 20 years, and they're very similar people. And they were talking about how important it is. They say they're almost 70% the same person, right? So it's like having an imperfect clone of yourself. So now you can double the work that you can do, right? They understand things very similarly as you, and you can really talk to them and get to that next level. But then there's that small bit of difference that allows you to see different angles and to help you grow. And I feel a lot with you with our comedy is it's not 100% the exact same sense of humor, but it's so close that we can kind of take these risks and take those swings at them. And I think sometimes
the hot tub circle.
Yeah, the hot tub circle. I think some of those jokes that if anybody heard us in the hot tub here all week, and that's been probably the other highlight of it is just, go golf. I think we got 9 rounds of golf in while we're here. And every other day that, after golf, come back and we got these little inflatable hot tubs. I think Ingo will probably want to chime in with the price of it because, it can't be
$3.99 on eBay.
No free ads.
No free ads, but Coleman hot
tubs.
Coleman inflatables. I think Ingo's got about 9 of them in his possession at each of his places. He got one down here up in Edmonton. And
hey, I gave it to you.
Hey, and now I've got one. Come next summer, you're going to see me and my Coleman inflatable in the back deck at GP. Actually, I think it might be a little bit heavy for the back deck, but under the back deck, that's going to be the place. Oh man. So yeah, no, just coming back and, I think with the last year that we've all been through, all in different ways, but I think all 3 of us have really, if we're honest, I think we all deserved a good trip like this. This is a special place for Ingo, especially. He loves it down here. It's been kind of his happy place. He's a very high pressure guy. He's got a lot of shit on his plate, and I think that was hard for you to not get down here. And It
was just to see the state of the house, and I like to, no one had been here for 10 or 11 months, so I just had some concerns. Even though the neighbor does come through, but I just like to tinker around here and make sure everything's in order. So I think that's just a normal thing, and it is such a relaxing spot for me.
And I think you don't often take kind of things for your own. You're always answering the phone and working from wherever you are, even if you have a nice weekend away or even going to Jasper or something. Nothing kind of lets you unwind like you get down here. And I think the rest of the family can almost see you getting a little bit stressed out and not getting down to your Phoenix, have your unwind trip. And I think that's very nice and special. And I think that's what kind of you see right now with all these people getting mad at these politicians for going down there. And obviously if you're a politician, enforcing all these rules and taking away people's livelihoods and boggling this shit left, right, and center, obviously you got to be held to a different standard, and you shouldn't be breaking the rules that you're saying. But there's also another side of this of people need a break, and people go through this stuff. And as long as you do things in a smart way and you're not putting any people in as much danger as possible, right? Get down here, get tested. You get tested before you go. You get tested when you land, and then you get tested again, and you make sure you don't put anyone at risk outside of those times. And
for us now, tomorrow's the first time you have to be tested to come back to Canada. So we were all Googling how to get this stuff done, and we'll be tested 5 times by the time.
By the time we're out in the general public in Canada, we'll be tested. 5 times. Like it's and just what pisses me off is just how they roll that out. Is now they come up with this rule of you have to be tested. You have to be tested 72 hours before you get on your flight. They don't let the airlines in on this rule. They just roll it out and expect them to come up with it. The tests take 3 to 5 days, so 72 hours to whatever 5 days and hours is. I don't know, 100 and whatever. And they expect people to figure this out, right? So now we had to go and find a place, call all these labs, find somewhere we had to pay, because the free ones are either booked up and they don't guarantee. They say 3 to 5 days, so we're not guaranteed, and we're not going to not get home. So we had to go now find another lab because the one we did first didn't have the right things and couldn't guarantee that we'd have this. But we're pretty resourceful guys. We were going to figure it out, right? And not all people have that. Think of some
older people that are not so computer literate.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or you're 75 and you're down in Mexico or something, God forbid. And how are you going to? Here there's resources all over. That's one of the beautiful things of America. They really invested in that infrastructure to support their society so that they could stay open, right? Which is something that I've been really disappointed in Canada. It seems like the only option ever was just lockdown. Right, we're just going to lock down. That is our solution. We're not going to look at any other avenues. We're not going to bring forward any of this stuff, and it's kind of upsetting. But now we're just even talking to people that we know that are down here, and we're just telling them today, like they were misinterpreting the rule, because when it first came out, we figured, it can't be. You have to be tested within 72 hours because the test results don't come back for 72 hours. It must be just that you need a result within 72 hours. But no, you need to be tested within 72 hours and then have your test results back. So now you have to go above and beyond. And also, I mean, we're very fortunate that we can afford to go pay for our own testing like that, right? But if you just were on the free ones, they can't guarantee 3 days. So now if you can't afford that, you're stuck. You can't travel if you can't get that in. And now now is WestJet responsible to put people up or whatever? Like, it's just so ridiculous how they roll these things out, and
there's not enough thought in the whole process. Mm-hmm. They just implement a rule without the repercussions, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what it's been with every new rule they put out and every new lockdown they put out. It's just, there's not a lot of forethought going into it, and not a lot of really full understanding of all the externalities that go into it. And it's a little bit dicey at points, right? It puts people in some tough spots, right? And like I said, we're very fortunate in a lot of ways that we can, we're less affected by those kind of things because we are very resourceful, and when we're at a certain place in our lives where we can work around their ineptitude. But a lot of people aren't, and I think that was something that just it's been mind-boggling to watch, right? Like,
yeah, or if you're traveling with a big family and you got like 2 adults and 3 kids, she's like, wow, you're talking $1,000 worth of testing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It takes US, so that takes a big bite out of your budget right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I know people say, well, then don't travel, right? But it's one of those things where you have to respect people. Well, I guess you don't have to, but the way I look at things, you got to respect people, what they want to do, and you got to let people live their lives. And as long as they take the right precautions, right? It's just when you make it impossible for them to follow the rules, when everybody's trying to follow as much rules as you put in, and then you put rules in place that are almost impossible to follow, like this rule they just put in. And, people are calling WestJet right now and they're saying, hey guys, this isn't us. We didn't come up with this rule. We don't even know how we're going to handle it, right? When it goes in tomorrow, I'm so excited to see what's happening in that airport tomorrow, because I guarantee we're going to see some people saying, what do you mean I can't board? What do you mean this isn't the right test, right? What do you mean it was not the results back? Or people that just go in and say, I was tested within 3 days, but my results aren't back. What do you expect me to do? I'm getting on this flight. I guarantee we're going to see that tomorrow. And what's unfortunate is, like all this stuff, it's going to be the poor making $17 an hour lady working at WestJet that's going to take the brunt of this. Just like when they put all these mask mandates, and now these poor kids working at Walmart, they're 14 years old, getting screamed at by a grown ass man, which obviously the solution there is don't be screaming at kids, but it's, that's going to happen. And you still put these things in place without rolling out an effective system for it, right? And it's just so many people are paying the price for their ineptitude when, the politicians that are coming up with this, they haven't missed a day of work. They haven't missed a paycheck. They haven't been really negatively impacted at all. And they just get to walk free, hit up that's why people have a good case for being pissed off that they're out traveling, because they're the ones putting the stuff in place, right? If you're trying to be safe and do all this shit, right? Like for me, I quit going to the gym. I quit doing all that stuff. Even when they opened the gyms back up, that wasn't smart to me. I thought that was a bad call, but I don't have control of what they do, but I went above and beyond their rules when they weren't doing enough. And then when they go too far, I'm going to break them, because that's what it is. I've done my research, and I'm going to find that rule of what is safe and what is responsible to me, and not have to be treated like a child, like they're trying to, right? They just feel like people can't understand enough that they could do this on their own, which I think people can, and not all people can. So you have to have some rules in place, but you can't play to the median assuming that everybody's an idiot, right? There has to be a certain amount of self-efficacy where you understand people have, something they want to, or some sort of brain in their head.
Yeah. And the beauty of being here the last, 9 days is that, we don't have the TV on. We don't listen to the news. It's just like a normal, good old day before, where the only difference is you see everyone wearing masks. And I guess we're going for tests every couple of days, it seems like. But it's that part of it is that we're not getting this fear pushed down our throats here. It's everyone's just going on more in the States here. They're not fear mongered like we are.
And you can feel it too. Is we don't see many people, but even the people you do see at the golf, like the starters at the golf course and stuff. Everyone, when you walk around county, you can feel it's different because there's so much fear and everyone's so scared that everybody looks different. They don't talk to you, and it's just almost a look in their eyes. And it's so nice just to be able to talk to people like normal, like human beings. It's so goddamn relieving. Like it feels like there's just this weight in your chest that you're walking around with in Canada all the time, and then you come here and and obviously we're going back to it, but it's a little bit of break. But man, it doesn't mean we have to be as wide open as Phoenix, which is one of the craziest hotbeds and craziest places, right? That has, because bars are open and all that, and obviously we're not going to the bars that are open and all that stuff and not interacting with people. We're being smart, but there's a middle ground between that. Doesn't mean it has to be that or lockdown, right? And then the biggest argument on everybody else is that, the hospitals were run. Well, we had 8 months to start, building more resources, doing these things, getting rapid testing to help take off that load, but we did nothing. There was no infrastructure put in place to help prevent that. And then now everybody pays for that ineptitude by having lockdowns, and the economy goes to shit and people can't put food on the table, right? It's a bit of an upsetting thing to see, but that's I think that's what happens when it's easy times. It's easy to elect people, hey, I'll do good and I don't really care, and I'll take money from whoever and I'll get into this place. And then when shit hits the fan, you actually need a leader, and they can't do it. And you have all these people at all these levels of government that are just getting easy paychecks and not a lot of responsibility, but a lot of accolades. And then when, push comes to shove, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in any politician's
you're right.
shoes right now. Mm-hmm. They've absolutely had, they didn't sign up for any of this stuff for sure, any of them. But still, you got to be smart too, and you're under the microscope. You shouldn't be going to Hawaii and Mexico. I mean, I couldn't do it, and for that reason, and that's why I wouldn't do it. It's just. My hat's off to those people that are doing it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to push back on that a little bit, not to be a cocksucker, but just devil's advocate maybe, is I think that is an upsetting thing to me, as you say, they don't sign up for that. But what I think is society's understanding of what they're signing up for has gone to shit. You are signing up for that. You are signing up to be a leader, right? And maybe not your not your local level guys, maybe, but at a certain level, you are signing up for that. If shit goes to the fan, you are that person, right? If you're a premier or an MLA, that is supposed to be that role that you are signing up for. That come, if it's happy days, it's happy days. But if it's shit, it's shit.
I mean, it's no different for us as business owners and managers and. The stuff that we have to do, and paid golf pro, the stuff that we have to do that we never thought we'd have to. People calling in and now this person is out, and there's a chain reaction of people, and what do you do? Like, man, I don't know how many meetings we had about COVID.
Yeah,
and thank God nothing's happened, but we've all punched through it pretty good.
Yeah, and like you say, you're right. Everybody's in that position, not just politicians. I think this pandemic has put everyone into a spot where they've had to make calls they never thought they'd have to make, and they've had to do things they never thought they'd have to do, right? But everybody's stepping up and doing the best that they can with it, right? And it's just at a certain level, it's all about what expectations you have for them. And maybe I have too high of expectations, but I think that's where I always think of things if I was in that position and I have a big ego, and I think I would do pretty good in a lot of roles, and I think I can do a lot of things. And then when you see people just not even,
I think if you did ever get into that world of politics, you would be, I don't know, there'd be a shock and awe of what you think you could. It's just like a big corporation.
Yeah.
You want to do things like you used to in your own private. And boom, there's a roadblock. You can't do that. You can't do this. So I don't know.
Bureaucracy.
It would be pretty numbing after a while.
And to me, I completely agree with you, Ingo. That's exactly what I see. And I think that there's a reason that's in place, right? That bureaucracy that prevents you it keeps a lot of things in place, right? From making changes, because what really needs to happen is wholesale change, top to bottom. We need to restructure the whole thing. But there's a lot of people that make a lot of money and have a lot of power with the current structure, so that there's nothing can change, right? So that was that unity project that I've talked about a million times on this podcast. That is something that said, hey, no, we're not satisfied with these little changes, right? Biden's going to come in and everything's going to be okay again and just going to be the same stuff as it was for the last 30 years. But, if you want to really make change, you got to support those people making change. And what was so interesting to me was exactly what happened. They shut down their Twitter. They shut down their Facebook. That is the real threat to power, right? And that is that is what I see as because I was very hopeless for a long time. It was just, I think we went on a run maybe last summer or something before that. And before this Unity project kind of came to light. And I was saying, I think I said to you, I said, there's no way this is going to change, because the only way it can change is violent revolution, right? And I don't want that. I don't think that's a solution. You know, I'd probably take this status quo of everyone just keep getting fucked and the money keeps going to the big corporations, then violent revolution. That's not good for anybody, right?
Storm the White House.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like that, it's a slight form of revolution right there. That people are so fed up with everything right now that they're gonna go to that length to storm the White House and the Congress. Wow,
exactly. And then what I see, which is, I don't agree with that, and I don't think that is good, right? But I hate seeing people just write that off as, how can anybody support this when I can see, oh no, I can see what they've gone through, because I've gone there before and I've decided that's a bad call. But I can't, I have at least a small bit of sympathy for people I can see the frustration that they've gone to and the mental gymnastics you can do to get to that point, right? I would never do that, and I would never take it to that spot, but I have to have a little bit of compassion, whereas you see people, they can't have even a little bit of compassion, right? Anybody supports Trump, they're a race, they're all this stuff, and you have to, if you can give yourself that small piece of compassion to at least not just write it off completely and say, okay, well, maybe they are just these racist assholes that are these backward people that are awful and they're the scum of the earth, or maybe there is some way that they think they're in the right. And if you do that, it doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but if you can at least try and understand their position, at least you can have that will open up the door to more compassion. Now you don't demonize them, and that is the biggest issue, is now everybody demonize the other because they're doing the same thing back to everyone on the left of, oh, these guys are PC, they're trying to make a million gender norms and all that stuff. And I think there's a lot of danger in that too, and there's danger on both sides, right? I think we're seeing for the last 10 years, we were seeing the dangers of the PC movement and what that endangers in teams. I think especially women took a real beating in that, because their rights have gotten stomped over a lot of the times in pursuit of this progressive movement. And that's dangerous too. And we weren't really seeing the real actualized danger of what the right can do. And today we saw it with them storming the White House. That is the actualized danger of that side too. And now we're seeing it, and both sides are bad. And that's what I'm saying. It's the same systems on both sides, and it's the same people. It's just one of those things where it's unfortunate, and I don't know what's going to change, but I think systems like that Unity project was so amazing to me. That was such a breath of fresh air of, at least there are adults in the world. You see, I think something growing up is always, I'm going to hit one age and then there'll be adults. And then I think going into the workforce, joining you is kind of a big eye-opening thing to me, is there's not a lot of adults out there. There's not a lot of people. It's kind of, everyone's just figuring it out. And it's
I think that politics have sprung to everybody's, like you guys, like at your age, I wouldn't think that. I talked to my buddies about, who I can't remember who was in power then. It doesn't matter, right? Because it wasn't important to me or anybody like that. But now it's important to everybody that we're getting taxed out of our yin yangs because our leader has no idea he's never worked a day in his life, and it just makes me mad. It makes everyone mad that it's so flawed. That's our problem,
right? And I think and that's exactly what it is everybody's so mad that it's so flawed, and there's a lot of anger there. But then what they do is they spin it up into issues, right? Like the mask thing. They get everyone fighting over this because they don't want people fighting over, hey, this system is flawed. They want you fighting over some ticky-tack shit, or fighting between the two sides so that you're not actually trying to make progress towards what would unseat them out of power, right? And that's what is very unfortunate about it. But I don't know how we got back down onto the politics. I mean, everything kind of... Everything,
this is a happy trip.
Exactly. This is a happy trip. And I think maybe one of the funnest parts of this trip for me was... another season of Australian Survivor. I think I talked about that on the...
Now I'm in my element.
Yeah, here we go. Chase has come back in. He's fired up. I could see it.
I was very confused for like 5 minutes there.
So Chase, you've probably seen how many of the seasons of Survivor, Australian and American?
All of them.
All of them. Hey, you've seen top to bottom. Have you rewatched any of the seasons?
All of them.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that one. A few. Boston Robs and some of my favorites. I'm a big fan.
So a couple weeks ago, I think I talked about it on the podcast. The solo episode was the season that me and you watched, the Australian Survivor season 1, and it was incredible. I mean, I'd kind of forgotten how much I love Survivor, because we used to watch it as kids. Every Thursday night was Survivor night. The whole family would get together. We'd have snacks. We'd make something big, and it was really a big event. And you get busy, and, my understanding of what reality TV, because of what it became, I think that was the real birth of reality TV, was the Survivors, and there's a couple others at that point, but that was when it was really true to what it was, and that craze took off. And then, like everything else, it gets diluted and turned to shit, and, all these producers get their hands in it, and then it turns to what Big Brother Canada turned into the last couple of years, right? Just absolute trash, right? And that's what happens. But you go back to that real meat of what Survivor is, and it's just they had it down to a system, and they haven't fucked with it, right? They haven't really messed with it too much to take it out of what made it special. And then you add on to it the aspect of having it all be Australians, who are my favorite people to this day. Like, I love Australians. They have the best lingo, they have the best mindsets. We're just going to take a small tangent in the politics, that throughout this whole coronavirus thing, I think Australia has been the top of my list of holding the right people accountable, kicking ass, not giving into this fear bullshit, and actually being smart about it. And it's awesome. But that's just what they're about. And I think Australia has always been, to me, just the high point of what society should be. And in some ways they're a little bit backwards too. And I think that happens, right? And I think I didn't realize that until I went on a trip and met a lot of Australian people, and there's some things they need to work on. But overall, I think they're just awesome. So then you take that group of people and you put them on an island together, where it's not, Americans or whatever else it is, and it is next level. And that season was so much fun to watch. I've reached out to a couple people on that season to see if I could get them on the podcast, because it was just something that I'd be so curious to have. And then we watched another season, and it was absolutely a banger. Would you say those first two seasons are the best ones of Australian Survivor?
I would say the second season we watched with Luke. I don't know. I got a big soft spot for Luke. I see a lot of myself in him.
Yeah.
And then the current one we're watching, and All Stars. I would say those three are the top.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
What season number 3 was that? The first one that we all watched together?
It's very weird. So season 3 of Australian Survivor, I think, is technically what they call season 1, because, and I actually looked it up. Season 1 and 2 of Aussie Survivor were done on a different network, and they were done in 2001 and 2002, and it wasn't successful.
Right.
So they took it off of that network and then came back with technically Australian Survivor 3, but it was on a new network, and it became a lot more successful. So that became kind of one.
Right.
So
and that I watched a lot of Survivor as a kid, right? And I don't remember a season like that Australian Survivor season 1 or 3 or whatever we want to call it. It was such good people, such good twists, such good turn. And then the last episode, I won't spoil it for anyone, but I was like screaming. I couldn't believe it. It was the biggest.
Yeah, whenever that part of you watching Survivor, I wish that this would happen. Boom, it happened.
I know.
And the next night, whoa, that's great.
Oh, it was so awesome. And even when someone you like gets voted, but it's always for a good reason, and you can kind of follow it. And
except for Luke, that was not a good reason.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. So other than Luke, for the season we just watched, season 4 or 2, I guess, whichever way you look at it, who is your guys' favorite other than Luke?
Well,
shit, that's a tough one.
What was it? Lockie was a...
Yeah, I like Lockie. Lockie was a mutant.
Yeah, he was a mutant in challenges. Oh my! And you said he's on All Stars. I haven't seen All Stars yet. I'm trying to catch up on the other seasons before I watch it. But you said Lockie's on it, and he's just as up to his old mutant tricks, just destroying challenges. What my favorite part of watching Lockie in those challenges was he listened to the rules, and then he goes, "How can I absolutely bypass everything?" And just like if it's about carrying people, I'm just gonna put them on my shoulders and carry them myself. If we have to climb this thing, I'm just gonna throw people up there or whatever. Right? It was just awesome to watch him just.
Yeah, and he got himself into trouble a couple times. He's a control freak. Right?
Yeah.
He'd sink something because he was they shouldn't have picked him to do that task. But 9 times out of 10, he was the right guy, and he did it whole.
And it was kind of one of those things where he was almost. You're getting a little bit disappointed in him at times because it seems like he's being a bit of a baby, and his ego's getting in the way. And obviously with Survivor, it's how they cut it, right? They have thousands of hours of, well, maybe not thousands, but a lot of hours of
thousands.
And just before, and it's all about the way that you cut it. But then they have that scene with him and Jericho, and Jericho is another guy on there, this kind of a little meager kind of guy, very nice, and everyone kind of liked him. Flight attendant, and he had a real scared moment. He almost drowned as a kid, got caught in a riptide, so he's very scared to go out and swim in the ocean. And this big mutant Lockie, takes him out and takes him swimming, makes sure he's very comfortable, holds on to him, and really lets him experience.
Can I have the flippers?
Yeah. Oh, it was very cute. I almost I almost welled up at a part, but that's what I love about Australian Survivors. They show all these sides of people, and something I forgot to mention right off the hop, but what makes it so much better is it's not 49 days like American Survivor. It's 55.
39 days.
39 days. Survivor. Right. So 39 days so another 16 days they're out there, and it's 24 people instead of what, 16?
They vary in American. It goes from 12, 14, 16, but normally 16.
Right. But 55 days is a whole different story. I mean, 39 days is also crazy.
2 months, man.
But that is wild, right? So like they are looking different. They are acting different when they're out there that long, and it just makes it to the next level. And you have even longer to fall in love with these characters, because there's characters that you don't even hear from. You know, it's episode 7, and you don't even know who the name of this one guy, right? But then
Odette.
Right, but then Odette, eventually they did, right? So they know how to play it because they only have so long. And I think it's a bit longer episodes too, and it just, the way they done it, I can't speak highly enough of what it is.
Their challenges are way harder than they, wow, man. You could die.
Yeah, exactly. And the challenges are amazing. Like, so we've just been, you know, it's golf, hot tub, Survivor, and that's been what we've had this whole trip. It's
and the World Juniors.
Oh, and the World. Oh, well, let's not even fucking talk about that.
We could talk about that a little bit. I mean,
well, we were coming in pretty cocky to that gold medal game. I think we were saying, nobody's going to come within 3 goals of them, and
5-1,
5-1,
5-1 Canada, easy. We're out.
But it almost seemed like, at the very start, like the first period, it just seemed like America wanted it more, and then Canada just couldn't get it going. It seemed like that
too nice.
Dump it in, drive to the outside, and then chuck it to the middle worked against so many of those teams, right? But it didn't work. That was kind of what had me a little bit worried. Was
you've seen all the tapes?
Yeah.
What it looked like to me was the Americans were the only team that thought they could beat Canada.
Right, for
they
sure.
Were the only team
confident,
that fully believed they could beat Canada, and I think America is the only team that Canada they've been snake bitten against. They haven't beaten them in a final since the 70s.
Yeah.
They've lost 4 in a row finals. And I think Canada fully believed that America could beat them. And I think that's what got it.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a bit of a dagger to watch at the end. But as the tournament as a whole, fun to watch, right? Some of those Canada games, the way they played and the way they were buzzing too. And that's what I was saying. It just seemed like they would kind of do that move or chuck it to the middle so many times, and then 1 in every 6 it would work. But against the Americans, they didn't get as many opportunities to try it. And then the ones they knew it was coming. They read it like a book. They plugged up the middle and made sure that they weren't getting sticks on puck. And that's what happens, right? You just get kind of stuck. They can't get into gear. Didn't get any of that big offensive time. Actually, later in the game, they kind of had a little bit. Yeah, and their goalie was lights out, right? Like that's also another piece that you can't really take enough into account as that. But so I figure maybe we'll pause it here, have some dinner. We got a lasagna cooking in the oven. It's the last night, so we're Chase has been drinking. He's got to pee.
Dipping into the Dan Aykroyd vodka, the Skull vodka.
No free ads, but Dan Aykroyd Crystal Skull vodka.
Ingo likes it a lot.
and what's the biggest reason you like it, Ingo?
Oh, because it was on half price.
There you go. There you go.
$70 for 35 at duty free.
He hasn't told us at all.
But it's a winner. Wow, it is. Wow.
Oh man,
Chase, it is smooth.
Crystal Skull or the Odyssey 2-ball?
Whoa.
No, the Crystal Skull.
Oh wow! All right. All right. Okay, we'll pause it there, and then we'll come back after dinner. We're taking it from right here. Okay, it's recording. So we just had a nice little bite to eat of our first course, our reheated Mexican food we had delivered yesterday.
I'm still burning from that. What was that thing you ordered, Chase, last night?
Steak rancheros. Apparently, it's real hot.
And I want to hear what you ordered in, because I've heard you call it about 19 different things. What was it?
Polo de cremo. Creme de polo or cream of chicken. But it's the go-to every time.
Oh,
wow.
that Mexican place is next level. Every time we come here, it's my food highlight of the trip.
Casa Bonita?
Yeah,
Plaza Bonita?
Hey,
I've heard that also called 19 different things.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It's the one by the sushi place. That's how we know it. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that place is good and cheap. We got a lot of...
You got so excited for that.
Wow. This is serious. No, we go there all the time. And Tuesday's 99-cent taco night, which is also a highlight. But yeah, that stuff is... And they're so friendly there. It's a great place. It's a great place.
Man, holy man. I think we better get a sponsorship for Casa Bonita here. Plaza Bonita, whatever it's called. Like we said, we call it a million different things. Oh man, that's so funny. So I don't know if I got an answer to you guys on the favorite other than Luke, obviously, because Luke is probably the best person I've ever seen on Survivor. Maybe Boston Rob, but okay. Here's the first question: who's your favorite other than Luke from that season? But then also Chase and maybe Ingo if you remember that far back. But who's your favorite all-time Survivor? All the seasons.
Luke.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then other than Luke, who do you think? Because I think mine probably be Boston Rob.
In American one, that Rupert guy used to be
I
pretty
loved
good.
Rupert. He was awesome.
One of the two-time winners. I know it's a cop-out picking a two-time winner, but Tony.
Tony.
He won season 20. He won season cop. Yes, he also built spy shacks like Luke did. And he won he won his season 28, and then he also just won the most recent season, which was all winners. And he took that one home. And he's a creeping.
Creeping.
He was a beauty as well. I think probably Tony would be my second.
Okay, well I'll have to check those seasons out because he sounds like a real winner. But for that season we just watched, other than Luke, we said we said Lockie. Yeah, Lockie. Would that be your favorite chat? I thought you kind of.
I had a soft spot for AK, but I know you guys didn't like him. But I'd say the Zen. He grew Henry.
Really?
Yeah. I liked Henry. He was cocky, but he was a good cocky. I liked him. Him.
Yeah.
Henry went home with an idol in his pocket. So, you think whatever first guy ever in Australian Survivor to go home with a idol in your pocket.
Yeah, only 2 seasons, so he's got not a lot to bat against. But no, that was such a fun season to watch. Oh, just
what about
so
Tarzan?
Good.
Ingo is all about Tarzan.
Yeah, he was good.
He went out early, but it was a very selfless.
He gave his idol away to What's Her Pickle.
It was a very selfless exit, and
nice guy.
He'll be back, baby.
Oh baby, yeah, no.
Tarzan was an older guy that everyone liked.
Yeah,
which I can relate to. And no, he was.
I thought you're not old.
Old enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Good. I can't wait to see him on the next one.
Yeah. Oh man. So what else did we get up to? Played some good games of pool. I got my ass whipped by both of you guys. I could not get my pool game. I have probably had you guys both on the ropes a couple times where you had like 8 balls up and I still lost. Ay. That was fun. Have any good eats? Cook some good
just
meals.
Driving around in the 03 Dakota is always a highlight for everyone too here. As far as you guys keep slamming the doors on it when it doesn't need to pull the door right through the cab.
Don't have a big meal before you ride. It's a very rough ride. It'll rattle your insides around there.
Oh man, I don't think
we've had some good food here too, other than the Mexican. We made some excellent meals here as well. You're a pretty good cook.
Oh yeah,
salmon. Wow.
Yeah,
it's good.
You guys are both good cooks. I've been eating great. I mean, I got sick of cooking on about day 3, so I decided to chop my finger off chopping the potatoes.
Oh my God, what a wine fest that was! Peeling potatoes, watching TV at the same time, and now
Survivor's hard to watch.
I'm missing the top part of my finger.
Well, you guys want a little extra spice in the potatoes. You got to add a little bit of fingertip. Oh man,
food coloring.
Yeah, no shit, hey.
Oh God, yeah, and then all the next golf game, missing my finger and blah blah blah.
I didn't say one thing about my finger the whole next golf game because I knew I'd get chirped if I did, but it hurt. No, it was fine. I was more worried about it just because I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I thought it was going to be gross to look at. I was a real baby about it when it happened, so I didn't want to look at it.
It was very minor.
Yeah, just a scratch. Tis a flesh.
Nothing to talk about.
Nothing to talk about. Oh, fair enough. I just wanted to get a couple chirps at me here. I just felt like I hadn't been chirped enough on the podcast, so I just had to throw something out there when I knew I'd get attacked.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just with COVID, we can't do the normal things we do.
Yeah.
Just go drive around, having been into town or anything.
Yeah.
We got to Scottsdale to do our nasal swabs and got about a 5-minute look around there, and then back to the nest here.
Yeah, and some of the things that Chase didn't get to experience, but maybe on the next trip when COVID's hopefully behind us, we can do. The outlet malls is always great. We didn't get there. That was a tough one. Didn't get to go to our favorite movie theater with the nice seats where they bring the food and the beer right to you. You're sitting in a lazy boy. I think they have that in Canada now, but it's always emptier.
We all have a pretty good spots laid out here in the 3 couches. Everyone's got their own roost with the blanket and everything. Yeah. So we pretty comfy. And you guys hit the sugar store there, the candy store.
Yeah,
or candy stop at the store.
Order in. Yeah, no, it was great. We got everything here. We're set up pretty good. We had a really good time. Lots of freaking laughs. Oh my God. Oh, Yeah. What else did we get up to?
Now it's over. Back home tomorrow, so we'll get through that. Next layer of COVIDness, and then we'll be back to normal.
Yeah, a little bit of extra tests, get it up the nose again, and I think the second time we did a COVID test, we had to do it ourselves, and we figured, it can't be as funny the second time. I think we all laughed almost just as hard the second time we had to do it. And it was,
all you folks that made fun of me for having a big nose, who's laughing now? The COVID test, smooth as a whistle. Whistles aren't smooth. Smooth as a baby's bottom. It was up and in there and out and. Oh.
Yeah, but we had to pay extra to get 3 swabs to tie together to get up that goddamn thing.
Connected it to Ingo's ball retriever.
Yeah, telescopic. Oh man, yeah, no, it was good times. Good times.
I don't think I got my record on finding balls either this trip, but I did pretty good.
Yeah,
we're still
your shins say otherwise.
Yeah, no shit.
Pretty scratched up from the desert.
Yeah, for some reason in the desert, everything's spiky. Even like plants that don't look like they're going to be spiky, somehow they have spikes on them. Even like microscopic. You come out of that, you walk through the bush looking for a ball, you're coming out with a few wounds on you.
Bloody.
Oh man.
What about that shot on 17, Nick?
Which shot?
When you went over the green.
Which one?
Your shot on 17.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean my shot on 17. Talk about chases. He drove the green.
Go on the green, but when you go over the green.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, he was playing from about 40 yards back of me on the tips, and I was up there, so I was a little bit less impressed. But I was just happy I could drive this trip out of nowhere. I mean, hey, you need a good golf teacher. Chase is, pretty turned my golf game around pretty much in one summer here. Probably took. Yeah, exactly, and it's been pretty fun.
I'm a newbie teacher, but I like to have fun, and I'll give you some good tips. We'll have some laughs, make fun of you a little bit, maybe. But,
yeah, well, that's exactly what I need, because usually when people try and teach me something, I'm such a loser that I don't listen to anything. I'm too stubborn to listen. But with you, you make it fun, and you make it kind of a joke, and a little bit of a chirp here and there, so it makes it fun to listen to, and it's not high pressure. And fuck, that is what I needed, because I think over the years that's probably why I stayed such a bad golfer, because I couldn't listen to anybody's tips, and I wouldn't take anything seriously, and I get frustrated when it didn't work and go back to my old freaking robot swing up and down straight. Tried to get a little bit more athleticism into my stroke this game. So yeah, no, that was lots of fun.
Be an athlete.
You just got to be an athlete about it, change up the swing and or the pre-swing process. Make sure it's the same every time. Yeah, no, picked up a lot of tips. What other kind of tips did I get this week?
Well, I know I got one. Don't chop at the ball, and
tomahawk chop.
Funny stupid things you do in the golf game, and then Wisconsin.
That is why we have Chase on the podcast, right there. The doo-doos.
So, anyways, yeah. That was my short game is my worst enemy, and that was.
But you're putting this trip. With that new putter.
I love my putter.
That 2-ball Odyssey. No free ads. Oh, man.
No, it's good. And that new driver I got for $200 at Christmas, too. That thing really worked out good for us. We were munching it, as we were saying.
Munching. Oh, and that might be the biggest thing we picked up on. I mean, I was getting lots of lingo all the time from Chase, but I think, Ingo, you probably got a few new terms this week for the golf lingo, munching, and what other ones are the...
Swear words were also, I've never heard golfing before.
I think I heard Ingo say "Holy Christmas" once. I don't know if that's a new one or I think he might have picked it up.
Yeah, that's a fun thing going hanging out with people. You just pick up on their lingo and you start throwing it around.
And Ingo said "dope." I
did hear him throw dope out a couple times this trip.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm famous
for that. Great course today. And you guys pick up a whole new wardrobe when I was waiting for you guys to come over.
Yeah, I think our wallets came out a little lighter out of that clubhouse.
You might have to hide that stuff going through customs tomorrow.
What do you mean? We only have one shirt each. Yeah. Nothing. Oh man,
we're wearing 3 shirts here, sir. Sorry.
Well, we couldn't hit the shopping at the outlet mall, so we had to really do our damage in the clubhouse there. And
full retail.
Yeah, no shit. Well, I mean, I think that's what happens is, well, for me, I can only speak for myself, but you golf a game like that, and just the experience is so amazing. Just like you're so blown away that you get into the clubhouse after, and anything that has TPC Scottsdale on it, you just want to buy it, right? And then they have these nice shirts to begin with, and then you got a little crest on the shoulder. It makes it so meaningful to you. I come out of there, I think 2 shirts, a quarter zip, 2 hats, and yeah, no, it definitely was not cheap. But how often you get down here? How often you get to have a day like that with good company? Lots of laughs, beautiful weather, yeah. Wow. Which is not you're kind of rolling the dice when you come to Phoenix in January. Some days it's or some years it's pretty chilly, right? And in the mornings it's a little chilly, sometimes at night, but then every day, almost maybe one day was crappy, but every day it warmed up to 20, 22, and we had
today was the best, though. It had to be I don't know, 22, 23, very comfortable.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. That was one of the funnest games of golf I've ever had. Just like I said, every hole you just walk up to is just so beautiful. And in that stadium, walking through that tunnel, coming out on there, oh man, that's next level
for myself too. Just walking through that tunnel and waving to the crowd that wasn't there, and oh man, that was awesome.
And that's funny because you've been to the tournament, the Waste Management Open, which is the biggest party tournament of the year, and that one hole that we got to, that stadium hole on 16, is an experience that not a lot of, well, I guess 750,000 people a year get to do in normal times,
but only a set amount of people get to
right.
go in there. And I would think it holds in. It's like a big hockey, maybe 25,000 people. To say 4 stories, but wow, the noise coming out of there would blow.
Yeah, loud. So how did that come to be? How did you get to go to that first one? Because you're not a big golf guy, right?
No, it was one of our suppliers invited me down and treated me like gold, and it was a great weekend. And then last year
he has a guy.
Last year we came with Holly Frontier, the lubricant guys, and. On 17, and that was equally as fun. It was just another. But honest to God, today was better because I saw the whole course, and then it just blows you away what they can build on something like that. It's crazy. Well,
I'm so excited to see the Waste Management Open this year now that I got to play that course and to go see it, right? Like, that is just going to be next level. And I think, I don't watch a lot of, usually the only time I watch golf is if I'm hanging out with Chase or the Masters or something. I mean, in the last 2 years, I've watched more golf than I've ever watched in my life just because Chase is a golf pro, and it's kind of, we talk a lot of golf.
He gets paid. Does he get paid to golf? Is that?
Oh yeah. Man.
Who did you tell that to, Chase? Who asked?
I don't know. Someone at the airport? I don't know. Someone asked what you do, and you said golf pro. I don't know.
Somebody when we were golfing at Southern Dune said, "What do you do?" And I'm a golf pro.
I think it was just a guy at the front counter.
Handed out his business card.
It's tough to say what I do without sounding a little cocky, like golf pro. I don't know.
But that's something that I think has been really cool the last couple of years, was watching you find something that you do that you love so much. It's just every time you talk about your job or what you do, your eyes light up. Like, I got to see you in school, and you were in like psych or something for a while, and then you were in ed.
I don't even know what I was in.
Yeah, and then you were in ed, and kind of doing that stuff, and you were always a hard worker. That's on this trip, Ingo said, you guys are gonna have to help out around the house and all this stuff. And I said, like, I mean, I know you got to probably worry about me because I'm a little bit lazy, but Chase is a hard worker, right? So I was never worried about that, but you just never found really what you wanted to do. And then this job you got now, doing that golf stuff, you fucking love every second of it. Hey, that's something that I talk about on this podcast with a lot of people, is just finding something that you love and finding a way to get paid for it, which is what I'm trying to do with this and this kind of thing, right? And it's just awesome to see you just kind of walk into it, right? Because was that ever something that you thought about, like being a golf pro or trying to make a throw at golf, or was it something you just kind of stumbled into?
It wasn't. No, I think that comes from coming from a small town in Westlock, where there was really nobody to
take you under the
recognize talent and
elite ball striking.
Yeah. And kind of even just give me the pathway to play college or give me lessons or tips or tell me that I maybe have the ability to, because I always kind of knew I was good at golf but I always thought, no, like there's no way I could become a head pro. There's no way I could shoot that. But I think if someone would have just said, you can do it, just do it. I think I could have started from a lot earlier of an age, but better late than never.
Right.
And I'm loving it, like you said.
Yeah. And that was something, watching you go through that was something, a couple of things stood out to me that I was very surprised by. First of all, I didn't realize, well, I guess it makes sense, but to be an assistant pro, I didn't think you had to do a playability test. That was very eye-opening. Did you always know that, or was that something as you started looking into it?
I always knew that, yeah. And from what I understand, talking to guys, it used to be a little more difficult to do the playability test. It was a 2-day sort of thing. You had to shoot and it was a lower score. I think now they're trying to get guys in the business, and I don't want to downplay myself. I think I did still have to go and do the playability test, and that's definitely it was a challenge for me to do that.
Yeah. But I think that it was fun to watch you build up to the playability test and take it seriously because you're kind of a guy that likes the pressure, right? Back in dodgeball and stuff, when the times got tough, that's when you like to buckle down. You kind of like the chip stacked against you. So it's fun to watch you take something like golf and have it be with some stakes, right? Like you can kind of get stakes going with golf with your buddies, a little competition like we did a couple of times on the course, throw some rules together, give Nick 19 strokes and then see if we can make a game out of it, right? But it's not the kind of pressure that you can get in a playability test like that. So that was fun to watch you go into that. But I guess something else I'm curious about. So until you realized like what, or that you wanted to take a crack at it maybe, how much did you know about the path forward? Because like I had no idea.
I knew nothing. I honestly knew nothing. And I'll credit it to my buddy Vinny, actually, who got me into it, because I met him in Nate, or another one of my random pathways down on alternative energy bullshit. Thought it was a good employment opportunity. Met this guy Vinny, and we started playing a lot of golf together. And he was actually the one who instilled the belief in me that I could do it. And he said, David Faraday is a guy who he got his pro card when he was a 6 handicap. And I said, wow, you can get your pro card at 6 handicap. I didn't know that. And his sister is a golf blogger in BC, and he kind of pushed me to do that. And I'll give him all the credit, but I knew nothing. I knew nothing about the pathway. And he was the one that sent me the link to the CPGA website. And he had the more belief in me than I did to begin with. And then once I got that link, it was game over. And I kind of realized I could do it.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm curious about, because I think so many times, looking at this example of golf is one thing, but I think it was so many things that's people don't realize the pathways forward, right? Like people are passionate about certain things, but they don't know the pathways to monetize it. And I think that's what's very important. Just on the last episode with Scotty, I was talking about trying to find ways to keep eye out for talent like that or for passion like that, to try and take them under wing and have someone like Vinny that just says, hey, I think you can do this. Here's the steps forward, right? Like, I think there's so many kids out there that could be one of the biggest examples I always throw out there is Cody Miller, right? Like, when he was making knives and shit and doing all that, building crazy shit, like, clearly a talent, clearly a passion, but just no one really there to say, like, hey, you could make something of that, right? Or Lonnie Brose that's doing amazing things, his Instagram page.
Cody Miller would be an amazing machinist. Like, I always hear you talking in your podcast about machinists. Sorry to take away from your golf thing. But that trade I've always said was... I don't know, very intriguing to my building stuff, and so precise. It's so, and then, I don't know if that's not the right word, but it almost seemed dying. These guys that what they did was almost magic.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. But I think it's about having these things that are out there, but people don't realize the pathways forward, right? Like machining, I didn't really understand what machining was until I found Adam Savage, who was doing a lot of machine work this summer, building the Samaritan from Hellboy, which is this crazy gun, but he had to machine all the pieces and stuff, and just seeing what that trade was. I had no idea really what it was. And now you think of these people that have like a Cody Miller that would have an amazing talent as a machinist, but you don't even really understand what that thing is, right? And it's about, to me, what always rings in my head is, how do we open up more pathways? I think podcast is something where you can, is just having people on that talk about these weird esoteric things, and you can kind of see that, right? Where someone's into golf, maybe someone lays out the path, and I think sometime in the future, maybe get Chase on the podcast to actually go through step by step of getting a what do you call it? A golf card, PGA card?
Yeah, just your pro card.
Yeah, your pro card, right? Because I think there's probably so many people out there. I bet you there's some kids at the Gilwood Golf Course in Slave Lake right now that love golf, that are passionate about golf, that work there, and don't even know what that pathway forward would look like, right? And just have someone come on and say, hey, I did it. I didn't think I could do it.
Somebody, like Adam Becker is a very good golfer. He's probably maybe in this, I don't know. He's
for sure.
Very good golfer. What, Chase, too, little, like, small kids, is there quite a few you see coming through, or is it, I just hope that the golf game stays strong as a game.
I think it's blowing up with young kids right now, isn't it?
I think so too. I mean, personally, in Westlog, when I would play the junior club championship, there was me and maybe 3 other kids.
Yeah.
But now where I'm working now, our junior program is huge. We probably have 50 to 60 kids in our program, and a couple of them, like, I don't want to name names, but a couple of them are very elite. Yeah. Like, I would say,
you told me about a couple of those kids.
They're up there in skill. Like, they whoop me around the course, and I don't even care, because they're so good. And I love seeing kids that are that good at golf. And I like I said, I think our junior program is huge and growing, and a lot of kids my age, even from 20 to 30 years old. I think it's growing in that age group big time.
What do you think that is? That kind of is having this big resurgence with the young guys? Do you think it's like the Ricky Fowlers and the Roy McIlroys that are kind of coming up and making it a little bit more hip, or what do you think that is? Yeah,
it's Tiger Woods. I think Tiger Tiger was getting big when I was born,
right?
And I think it's all Tiger.
Yeah,
because Tiger made the Rickies.
Yeah,
Tiger made the Rickies, and if Ricky is making the 5-6-year-olds now, Tiger made that. It's all
Morikawas.
It's all Tiger.
Yeah,
it's all Tiger.
You're right. All roads. When you're talking golf, all roads come back to Tiger. Really, that.
You could talk to an 80-year-old golf fan. You could talk to an 8-year-old golf fan, and you're going to say, "Who is the best golfer? Who's your favorite?"
Yeah,
it's Tiger.
Yeah,
and I don't care whether or not they might say it's Ricky. They might say it's whoever. But
you know, it's
deep
Tiger.
Down, it's Tiger.
That's funny. I think even if you ask Ricky or any of those guys, everyone on the tour, it's Tiger, right? Like even the old guys probably.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I also think another thing with the young kids is that the older guys right now in the pros, they're putting more of an emphasis on trying to get the juniors in the game. So we're trying to implement more things that just make it fun and make it less of that old boys club that plays by the rules and with no music playing, and they walk and they smoke cigars, and we're trying to make it fun and more of a game than
Who is buddy that wore the hoodie the other day? It was a big deal.
Terrell Hatton was the first guy. He wore it on the Euro Tour, and oh my God, we heard about it in our pro shop. Old guys were coming in. Do you see this guy with the hoodie on? And now Rory McIlroy wore one, and now what did we order in our shop this year? Hoodies. They're gonna sell.
It's so fucking awesome to see that because I think it's those things, right? Pushing the envelope a little bit, doing something to just make it cool, buck the trend a little bit, bring those young guys in, and that's just gonna pay dividends. Every time you see one of those things, I just think like, oh, that's another couple thousand young kids that's gonna, catch on and come into the game, and that's what it needs for a sport like that. And another thing you see is right now, the two things I think that are resurging with young guys right now is golf and skiing. Right, it was snowboarding forever, right? And I think that's one of those things where kind of for a while it was snowboarding, right? And all the parents skied, and then the kids snowboarded. Now all those snowboard their kids are doing, it's the counterculture kind of thing. They want to ski, right? And they see all these people, and now skiing is this huge thing, and they're doing all these tricks and really pushing the envelope and making it cool, right? And you see that happen. It's very impressive, but it's almost interesting to me. There's probably so many industries that could be taking notes from golf and from skiing, and that we got to make it cool, right? It's one thing to keep the history, because I get that side of the coin too. If you want to keep the tradition of what you got alive, but you got to loosen your grip a little bit and give a little bit of leeway to let the game evolve, right? And to let it get to that spot, which is also something that I love. MMA is one of those things where it doesn't have any of those traditions. It's so young that everything is that, right? Things are changing all the time. We're still figuring out what the best formula for being elite at MMA is. So you get to see there's no rule book, there's no tradition, right? There's the old heads are like been in the game for 10 years. Right? That's exactly
I just recently watched those like very first Ultimate Fighters. And you say it's a young sport, but you even watch those first Ultimate Fighters and Chuck Liddell and all those guys that did they really have a ton of mixed martial arts skill? No. Chuck Liddell, when he came in and was coaching those guys in Ultimate Fighter, he was, you swing away, you fight, you go in there and batter and bad. No, and now it's very technical and extremely technical. And a lot of people think it's boring because all you see is wrestling and ground and pound, but the true fans see the more skill in that. And I think that's where MMA is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. It's, well, I could talk about MMA for years, but yeah. So with golf, if someone is a younger guy, like I said, I think at some point we'll have to do the full soup to nuts of how to get into golf as a profession and where to go with that. But what would be the first thing to look at if a young kid is out there listening that wants to take a step? Like, is it just go on the CPGA website and look into it, or what would be the first step? Like, what's the link to go to?
Honestly, PGA of Canada website is very good. Yeah. I think you go on there and there's education, there's step by step, like your playability test, what you have to do with schooling and after But the first thing is you need a job in the industry. Get in there.
Go work in the pro shop. And I think that's what you see is you'd see all the like the Keaveneys and stuff growing up. They worked at the golf course, and that was that first step. And you'd see them go there, but that's where it ended. And there was no one there to say like, if you want to take this further, this is what you got to do. And I think that's what's missing. And I think probably and hopefully they are, but pro shops.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that the pros job or the assistant pros that should, you know who the good guys are. You should be saying, hey, you ever thought of doing this as a job?
Yeah. But I think a lot of times, especially back when it was harder to get into, you go through all that stuff. And I think a lot of times with things like that, it's almost this thing where you want to keep it exclusive and guys don't want to, bring everyone on. It's kind of that famine mindset, right? Of there's not enough for everybody. But now I think in a lot of ways that's changing in a lot of industries where everyone's putting their hand back and wanting to help people forward, right? I think podcasting is one of the biggest, the biggest perpetrators of that mindset of just everybody going on each other's and trying to grow, and just it doesn't mean that it hurts this one, because there's billions of people out there. You're gonna find your niche, right? And I think that's the same thing with golf. There's thousands of golf courses out there. It's not like you're gonna be losing your job to some young kid. You might be if you're not pulling your weight, or you're getting lazy. But I don't know. I think that's just better for the game. The more young guys, the more young blood you can get into it, the more those are going to be in 10 years. Those young kids are going to be the guys that have the money to spend at these courses, right? You look at these courses like TPC Scottsdale, where it's not cheap to play it. And if all these guys are aging out and they're not there to come spend that money, you don't have a good crop of young guys coming in. Yeah. They're not going to do too well, right? You need that. It's very important for the longevity.
But I mean, if you looked at the group ahead of us today and the group behind us, the group ahead of us was a mom with 3 kids that were roughly 20 years old. I kind of saw them on the driving range. And the guys behind us, there's a group of 4 no older than 35.
Yeah.
And they were players. I was, keep my eye on them. Yeah. They were good. They were solid players. And I think that's where it's going. There's a lot of young people getting into golf, and it's a pandemic, excuse the word, but a pandemic of 20 to 30-year-olds going to play golf. And I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh man. And what a golf trip it was, the nice easy course. I mean, the Duke that we play on here, it's amazing. We love it. And then, the ones like Ocotillo, where it was a nice course. We were a little disappointed, but even still the houses on there and some of the stuff we saw, and it's still a great course. Lightning greens. It was awesome to play.
Yeah, there were some shacks on Ocotillo.
Holy man. Wow. Except, I mean, almost took a little bit of wind out of seeing a couple of those houses today on TPC. They're right at the start. There was a couple of freaking
she was intimidating, shooting the ball down the right side there.
That was just down the right side one.
Yeah, I know it was in my cage. I didn't get going until about the 4th hole because of that. But there was one in particular. What was that? Was that the 4th, or with the tiered where Nick went off? That house, I took a picture. That was
that was the nicest house I think I've ever seen up close.
And was it you or Lee and I were talking about? Imagine you had a house on the right on the green, and all these guys are playing there for a whole week. You'd be crazy.
Oh, seeing Tiger come, just watching, having a beer on your back deck, watching Tiger putt. Like, come on. Oh, next level.
That's closer you get than at St. Andrews or anywhere like that. You don't get that close. That is close.
How would you know?
Well, I got Kapalua.
So maybe while we're on the subject of golf, how was that experience about St. Andrews going there?
Well, I think the nerves were a little different there, because you tee off and be 300 or 400 people watching you, because they're just checking out.
It's a tour.
It's a tourist stop, so there's like 5-6 buses there all the time. Mm-hmm. And fortunately for me, I had a good drive both shots and coming home, because you go over the bridge and you have to hit. There's houses there everywhere too. And, oh my God! But I got to look up some pictures for Chase to show him the grass. The fairways are like carpet. Like, it's unbelievable how kempt it is there. Mm-hmm. But this just walking into that tunnel today, man, that was so cool. That was like going into like a fight. Fight or something. I don't know. You can get the feeling.
It's like the Coliseum.
Wow. But I know this is. I don't know. It must be such a different thing for those guys, knowing that they got. I don't know. I'm not a big golf watcher like you guys, but is there that much? Is that the biggest crowd in the whole tour?
Yeah. It's known as the biggest crowd event, and even the starter today said we put in 250,000 people a day. maybe 10,000 of those are here to watch the golf.
Yeah.
The other 240,000 are here to party. And there's live music every night. There's live music in the mornings. There's bars. There's everything. And that's what they're there for.
Did you go to any of the live music and events when you were there?
No, we couldn't get tickets, but the one last year we stayed in Scottsdale, and in the hotel it was rocking in the lobby.
Yeah.
The bars were it was pretty lively. But they had like big name concerts were playing right across the street. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Oh man, it's definitely something I think me and Chase have already said that when COVID's over, we're gonna have to go down and make a trip and go watch that on hopefully the 16th. But we might have to just go general admission the first year. Maybe
last year, Jason and I walked. It was 3:00. It was impossible to get in, but by 3:00 you could walk in there and watch the final. Like you could get in there and get a seat. People are hammered in there though. Like, wow.
Oh man, that would be so fun just to be able to go in there and chirp and jeer at the guys that they missed the greens and all that. Oh, were you saying that they don't cheer if you hit the green on 16? They're cheering if you miss, or what?
They do cheer, but it's way louder when you miss.
Yeah,
way louder when you miss. Yeah.
Oh, that is my type of golf. I love that. That's I think one of my favorite parts of the whole week was just throwing chirps out, which is easy for me to do because I'm the worst golfer out there. So I can chirp with reckless abandon because I don't really care if it comes back. Because it's kind of weak to chirp the lowest guy on the totem pole. So I had a little bit of free reign, but it was fun. It was lots of fun. The whole week was just exactly what I need. I can't speak for you guys, but exactly what I needed. I think I was pretty pressured up, the whole COVID stuff and everything going on, and starting this podcast, and work's been crazy.
More than what I needed.
Yeah, no, exactly, right. And Ingo too, he works hard and he needs a break every now and then, and this is his release, so it was really nice to get down there. I mean, I think I was pretty worried about talking about this on the podcast because just you're seeing all these people getting mad at these people going through, but I honestly believe that people have a bit more compassion than that, and people understand this. And I think people, if they listen to this, they're gonna, see that side of it. And I bet you they can put themselves in our shoes and probably, what's the word? Associate with us and know that feeling and understand where we are in that. So I'm glad we did this. I had a lot of fun hopping on here with you guys. We'll maybe get off and get the lasagna out of the oven. But is there anything else that we missed on this week that we didn't touch on?
No, I think we hit it all. It was pretty good. Weirdo me's ready to go back to work, and after about 7 days, this kind of match, we are kind of missing the action at work. So I like to get back. But it was fun with you guys, and we did calculate I figured it out this morning. The longest distance here is from the dishwasher to the sink. It's 3 feet. So I think I got Chase on the right page here now. And you guys were awesome. Everybody chipped in when I needed it. We power cleaned the house, so that was it was a fun trip. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, power clean.
I swear to God, though, if I hear no shirt, no shoes, no problem one more time, it's over.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Oh man, yeah. Ingo's favorite ringtone: the no shoes, no service. No. Hey, I've been carrying that torch for 3 years now to try and get him changed. It was AC/DC before for about 3 years, and oh my God, I can't handle either of those.
The more
songs.
people hate it, the more it makes me keep it, I guess.
I know, he loves it. Yeah. He loves it. Oh man, yeah.
No, this is a great place down here. A nice little sanctuary for us. So nice to share it with other guys and that get the same mileage out of it that we do. It was fun. Yeah, I don't know how we could have made it more fun. We ate. I know I jumped on the scale this morning and back to the regime next week.
Yeah.
and Christmas is over, everything, and back at her. So
back to hammer down.
Yeah, and we'll isolate when we get home and wait for a test to come back, and then be back at her.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thanks again, boys. That was lots of fun, and we'll have you guys both on this podcast on your own here sometime soon. And Ingo's got a couple
100
episode 100. He's got a bit time to wait, but I can't wait for either though. So thanks, boys. All right. Sorry, the last 2 minutes there. Ingo and Chase's mic kind of stopped picking up. I don't know what happened there, but you can still hear him a little bit through mine. So I left it in the last 2 minutes. Sorry about the audio quality on some of this. It's a little tougher. I think I got a little lazy leaning on Brendan's help, rolling these podcasts out when he's there to make sure nothing's going wrong. It's a lot easier when I'm on my own down in Zona. It goes a little cattywampus, but like we say, we're always getting better on this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. A little bit of a shorter episode there. Like I say every week, if you could do me a big favor and tell a friend if you do enjoy this podcast. Somebody, if you ever hear, kind of the big thing I've been telling people, the biggest help is, if ever podcasts come up as a topic, and usually the people that are going to listen to this is people that already listen to podcasts. It's hard to kind of bust in as somebody's first. I mean, I'd rather recommend somebody better than myself if that's going to be the case, a Joe Rogan or a Lex Friedman that could do that. But if you do hear someone, hey, I like podcasts, well, my buddy's got one, and kind of, throw that out, that's always helpful. Or for a specific episode that has a topic where somebody that listens would really enjoy, pass it on to them. Other than that, helping me out by following the Instagram and Twitter accounts. In the new year here, I'm trying to retweet and tweet my own stuff from my Twitter account. It's dub_Von for some reason on Twitter. It automatically gave me that username. I thought the VonDubCast was open, but apparently not. It just put that in before I was already too far down the rabbit hole to change it. So yeah, I'm trying to be a lot more active on that. I think there's a lot of good stuff on Twitter if you can sift through the garbage of what is the steaming dumpster fire it seems to be at times. So that kind of stuff. If ever anybody's looking to start their own podcast, I'm here to help. And also, if you want to help with this podcast, there's a whole bunch of different roles. You don't have to have any knowledge of podcasts or technology to do it. It can be so much of, even if you're just listening to it every week, and I could give you a couple things to help on there that you could just, as you listen to, I could give me a little bit of specific feedback on what you hear, and that would be a huge help. So other than that, I hope you guys are having a good start to the year. I know there's a lot of craziness, but like I say a lot of the times, it's there's a lot of money to be made keeping people divided and keeping people angry. And once you understand that, you can start to see through a lot of the bullshit. So just as much as you can, try and forgive your fellow man, and have a lot of compassion rolling through. And that will bring you to a much better place, a lot happier place. And then the other piece of it is just work on yourself. If you can take self-responsibility in an area where you don't have to, you're going to see seeds of success start to come out of that. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to bring some real spicy episodes to you guys in the new year here. So, all right. Talk to you guys next week.